pretty disappointed, but I think given where we started, I think was pretty much the maximum we could do.
Hey everyone, what's been happening with Sergio Perez lately? Every weekend he seems to be getting more and more frustrated while his teammate Max Verstappen is holding it down for Red Bull, increasing the pressure on Perez. Our Mexican driver has faced significant challenges in recent races, accumulating only 8 points while Verstappen has racked up an impressive 83 points. Despite the criticisms from the press and fans, Christian Horner has defended Perez and still believes in his potential. Can he turn it around? Will his contract be broken? Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything and come with me to understand everything that happened in Barcelona. Sergio Perez had another tough weekend at the Spanish GP. After qualifying 8th, he had to deal with a 3-place grid penalty, starting the race in 11th place. This was a result of an infringement at the Canadian GP, where he returned to the pits unsafely to help Verstappen avoid a safety car situation. During the race, Perez managed to pass a few drivers, including Fernando Alonso of Aston Martin and Alpine drivers Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. However, he finished the race in 8th, earning only 4 points. This result reflects the difficulties Perez has faced in recent races, where he accumulated only 8 points across 4 events compared to Verstappen's 83 points in the same period. Perez's performance at the Spanish GP is just one piece of the larger puzzle. His struggle to consistently score points is raising serious doubts about his position at Red Bull. Despite the criticisms and difficulties faced by Sergio Perez, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner continues to defend his driver. Horner highlighted that even with the challenges, Perez is performing well under difficult circumstances. At the Spanish GP, Horner mentioned that the team's simulation predicted 8th place as the best possible result, considering Perez started the race from 11th on the grid. Horner emphasized that the 3-stop strategy was the best approach for Perez and that he met the team's expectations. According to Horner, Perez is a driver who needs confidence, and he hopes the result in Spain will help Perez regain his form in the upcoming races. Moreover, Horner acknowledged the need for Perez to mix it up more with the frontrunners to provide more strategic options for the team. He praised Perez's performance in the early races of the season and believes that with a bit more confidence, Perez can return to a competitive rhythm. This constant defense from Horner shows that the team still believes in Perez's potential, despite recent results. However, the pressure to improve is evident, especially with Red Bull's high expectations. When we compare Sergio Perez's performance with that of his teammate Max Verstappen, the difference is stark. While Perez struggles to score points, Verstappen has been dominating races, including a win at the Spanish GP. In the last 4 events, Verstappen has accumulated an impressive 83 points, while Perez has managed only 8 points in the same period. This disparity in performance puts even more pressure on Perez, especially considering that Red Bull needs both drivers at the top to secure the constructors' title. While Verstappen continues to demonstrate consistency and speed, Perez seems to be struggling to keep up, both in qualifying and in races. This situation raises a critical question. Why is Perez so far behind? Part of this can be attributed to technical and strategic issues, which we will discuss later, but there is also an individual performance component. Verstappen has been nearly unbeatable, and this high internal benchmark makes any of Perez's failures even more visible. This unfavorable comparison with Verstappen is starting to affect the perception of Perez within the team and among fans. Given Sergio Perez's inconsistent performances, speculations about his future at Red Bull have emerged. Recently, the team extended his contract until the end of 2026, but disappointing results in recent races have raised doubts about whether he will be able to fulfill this contract. Former driver and analyst Michael Bleekemolen suggested that Red Bull might reconsider Perez's position, especially if his results do not improve quickly. Bleekemolen even proposed that Carlos Sainz could be a more stable and competitive alternative for the team. Sainz, who is currently without a contract for the next season, could bring a new dynamic to Red Bull without directly threatening Verstappen's dominance. These speculations are not just rumors. They reflect a real concern within the team and among fans. Red Bull needs consistency from both drivers to compete for the Constructors' Championship, and Perez's lack of performance could lead to drastic strategic changes. Damon Hill, the 1996 Formula One world champion, also expressed significant concerns about Sergio Perez's recent performance. Hill described Perez's current form as really disastrous for Red Bull. He highlighted that, despite having one of the strongest cars on the grid, as demonstrated by Max Verstappen's victories, Perez has struggled to keep up. Hill noted that even with a competitive car, Perez has failed to maximize his potential, often finishing several positions behind Verstappen. At the Spanish GP, Perez adopted a three-stop strategy that was not ideal, finishing the race a full minute behind his teammate. Hill's criticism is not just about the results, but also about Perez's consistency and ability to support Verstappen in the Constructors' Championship. Hill argued that for Red Bull, having a driver who cannot come close to Verstappen's pace is problematic, especially when rivals like McLaren and Ferrari are closing the performance gap. Damon Hill's comments reinforce the idea that Perez urgently needs to improve his performance to maintain his position in the team. Technical and strategic problems have been a significant issue for Sergio Perez in recent races. At the Spanish GP, these challenges became even more evident. Perez struggled with the car's balance throughout the weekend, which compromised his performance in both qualifying and the race. Perez mentioned that the car was inconsistent, especially on the soft tire compounds, which negatively affected his pace. Additionally, the three-stop strategy adopted by the team was not ideal, leaving him stuck in traffic and unable to make a significant recovery during the race. He ended up finishing 8th after a tough battle to overtake the Alpine and Aston Martin cars. Another critical point was Perez often being the guinea pig for Red Bull's tire strategies, meaning he frequently pits before Verstappen to test tire durability. This approach, although logical from a strategic standpoint, puts Perez at a disadvantage, making it even harder for him to compete equally with his teammate. These technical and strategic problems have been a major obstacle for Perez, but they also raise questions about the support and resources available to him within the team. It is clear that to improve his performance, Perez needs to not only overcome these challenges, but also rely on more balanced support from Red Bull. Speculations about Perez's future at Red Bull are strong, with critics like Michael Bleekemolen and Damon Hill questioning if he can really continue with the team long-term. However, it's important to highlight Christian Horner's continuous defense, who believes in Perez's potential and hopes he regains confidence and returns to the competitive rhythm he showed at the start of the season. The big question is, can Perez overcome these challenges and secure his place at Red Bull? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, we'll keep an eye on every race, analyzing every detail to bring you all the latest news and insights. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like so you don't miss any updates on the world of Formula One. See you in the next video.